I was basically importing this one from Portugal to Canada. I'll let you know everything that you need to know if you want to travel with your dog in cargo from Europe to Canada. Okay, so I got Porto in Portugal. We got everything. He had a Portuguese passport, but we needed an European passport to get him to Canada. The Portuguese passport was free. He got microchipped for free, rabies free, and those are basically the only requirements he needed to come to Canada. I don't remember the exact it's not syllables, siglas, letters, acronym. I don't remember the exact acronym for, I think it's a Canadian Food Inspection Agency, something like that. Those guys are the ones that regulate dogs in the country. Those are the ones that say, this is what you need to do if you want to bring a dog or a pet or a being into the country. On the European side, they really didn't have a lot of information, so they asked me to do a lot of the research. Most of the information they got was from this website. All of the information I found was from that website as well, plus one YouTube video that explained I needed to put all his documentation, like certification of adoption, microchip number, my address, emergency phone numbers, extra kibble, on an envelope on his crate. When I got to the airport in Madrid, they basically looked at me like, what the heck are you doing? This is not how it goes. So I told them, hey, this is what I found online and this is what they told me to do. We went with the envelope, which it actually made me feel safer because it had his history, where I got him from, my contact information, my family's contact information in Spain, my boyfriend's contact information in Canada, where I was gonna do my layover, because we had to do a layover, some extra food, some treats, and what else? Oh, and all his vaccines, and my address in here as well, and my family's address in Spain. That made me feel safer, because if anything happened, at least he had all the information on his crate, so they could send him whatever he needed to go. So they let us keep all that in the envelope in Spain on the crate, and now they needed to take him to the plane. In Madrid, they actually escort you all the way to like a specific entrance for employees and pilots and ground control. I think that's how it's called. So they take you there and you see how the crate goes through the x-rays for luggage, and then you go through the like scan. Pardon my vocabulary, I feel like I don't know how to speak, but you know what I mean. So I carried him and I went through it so they could check we didn't have anything in ourselves, in the dog. I was not smuggling anything into Canada. And they took him from there. Once I got to the waiting room, I asked the front desk ladies, the flight attendants, I think, well, you know, the ladies on ground that knew everything about the flight. I asked them to please check and make sure the dog was on board the plane. They did. Once I was in the plane, I asked the crew members to please tell me how cold the cargo area for the dog was. And I think I was very lucky in that flight, because I actually talked to the person that helps the captain. I don't know what's the name of that. I don't know if it's a co-pilot. I don't think he was actually piloting the plane, but he made sure he knew exactly what to tell me. He told me he didn't really know, he wasn't sure about the temperature, and he was not sure about how it was managed, and that he was gonna get back to me. Those were the longest 15 minutes of my life, because I thought the dog was gonna freeze to death. But he came back and he told me that actually the same temperature that we felt in the cabin inside of the plane was the temperature that he was feeling as well. I told him that it was a little chilly, and he said that they were gonna adjust it for the dog. I don't know if it ever happened, but what I can tell you is that it made me feel at ease. When I got to Toronto, of course I was freaking out, and he was not with luggage. I mean, if you think about it, they throw luggage and then you have to get the luggage out of the wheel, right? The carousel. He was where the oversized stuff was. So I can tell he was treated with care. He was freaking out when I got him, but he didn't soil himself, which was impressive because it was a 7 or 8 hour long flight. It was pretty long. And they didn't ask for much when we went through customs. Not much. They asked me if he had the rabies vaccine and if he had his documentations. They asked me, they didn't ask to see it. I'm not saying don't do your due diligence. What I'm saying is, it's not as scary as it seems. I don't know if you're traveling from South America or another country. I don't know if that would make any difference, maybe. But coming from Europe, Spain specifically, it was not a big deal. They just say, okay, sure, go right ahead. And that's what we did. While in Toronto, we stayed at the DoubleTree. It was probably the worst experience I've ever had. So don't stay there. There are a couple other hotels that are a little more expensive, I think, but you can see the reviews. They're so good for people traveling with animals. Just don't stay at the DoubleTree, please. Not worth it. I think I paid like $30 for a hamburger, and they took like an hour to get to me, and then it was charred. No one helped me with 2 full-sized suitcases, my purse, my bag, and his crate. No one helped me. So, like, my luggage was rolling down the street and he was rolling down the other side, and people would just stare. I'm sure at other places, you know, service would have been better. So, don't stay at the DoubleTree. Of course, the reasoning behind it, because I could have just gotten another flight, you know, just get the dog, transfer flights, or even get them to transfer the dog from one plane to another and just meet the dog in Vancouver. I just could not. That was a personal option, a personal choice, and I'm very happy I did that actually, because it gave us, both of us, about 12 hours to calm down, regulate, just feel centered again, and, you know, ready to do it again. You know, I took it more as a marathon rather than a sprint. They drove us in the shuttle, they drove us to the airport, we checked in, and then for the second flight, I checked everything. I was only traveling with my backpack. My carry-on was checked in as well. I was so tired. It is a big deal if you're doing it by yourself. It is a big deal. I actually underestimated how much effort that was gonna take. So yeah, I did check everything in. For him, I had to go to the oversized items area, which is interesting. And then they asked me to leave. Not even to give him to them. they didn't pass him through anything. They just told me to leave him on the side of this area, which is like an enclosure in the middle of the terminal with people going around him. Just leave him there, someone's gonna come pick him up and someone's gonna take him in the plane. I did not do that. I told her I'm not leaving until someone comes get him. I'm not getting on that plane if I'm not 100% sure that my dog is in that plane with me. She understood, and oh, my voice is breaking. I get so emotional because it was a very hard moment actually, because she said that no one was speaking up and the person that was gonna come get him was supposed to be there like 20 minutes before the time that I asked her again. But you know, it was good that I was there, and I recommend you doing that as well. Just make sure someone takes him to where he's supposed to go. And when we got to Vancouver, he was there, just waiting for me. He was crying this time, and he did soil the crate this time, just pee. But he was fine. He was fine. I thought that he was just gonna try and claw his way out of the crate, and I thought that I was gonna find that crate full of blood and nails. I had this horrible idea in my head of what was gonna happen, and none of that happened. I did train him as much as I could. I think it was just 3 weeks before the flight to get in that crate. He hated that crate so much. But I think that helped, because I think he did feel safe, or at least safer. So there you have it. That was my experience. I might be leaving details behind that you might need, so please just comment or get in touch with me in my Instagram. Sometimes I feel that what I have to say is useful, so I'm open to any feedback. If you need to give me some shit because I didn't post this when I said I was gonna post it, just go right ahead. So thank you for listening, and please ask me if you have any questions. Just let me know, okay? You'll hear from me soon, and I hope I hear from you.